it's time to bring up my very dear friend and also the co-founder of SowHope, Miss Mary Daly Brown. Where are you?
All right, now I'm going to change out of my Michael Jordan. That wasn't really Michael Jordan. It was just me. So let me get out of my Michael Jordan clothes and change. Just doing something for change here. Did I say Michael Jordan? Well, we're going to change that right now. Very good. Craig caught it. That was a test. Michael Jackson. Wow. I'm impressed, Craig. That was really great. All right. Now I gotta. Okay. I think I'm good here. Well, we all want to do something for change, don't we? I always did want to be Michael Jackson. If we'd have had a few more seconds on there, I could have really done that moonwalk a lot better. I didn't have the time. Well, thank you, Beth. And by the way, I want you to know you're going to hear from Sienna Mavima. She's in the house tonight. Where are you, Sienna? Where are you, Sienna? Stand up. Oh, over there. Okay. Could we change something and maybe turn the lights up just a little more in the house? Just a little. Well, we got some video, so whatever you guys want up there. Sienna is from Zimbabwe, and you're going to hear a little bit more about her in a minute. But her husband came here as a professor many years ago for Grand Valley State University, and then after a little while, he sent for his wife and kids. And when she got here, he said to her, I got you a car. I got you a van. And she said, oh, that's great. And he said, I even put your name on it. And she went out, and it was a Toyota van. And she thought that he put her name on it. Sienna. Toyota Sienna van. Get it? Okay. All right. Well, here we are in beautiful West Michigan. It's a fall day. Changes in the air and on the trees. Is change a good thing or a bad thing? Well, if things are bad, change is a good thing. What if things are good? Change can still be a good thing. Change is actually inevitable. There is nothing permanent except change. That was said by a guy like in the first century, Heraclitus. There is change that is bad. Sometimes it's caused by someone or by nature. For example, I think that people in Ukraine would say that their change has been pretty bad, brought on by someone. The Maui fires, they were bad, and we're not really sure what caused them yet, but we know that the wind, nature actually made it worse. And then there's change that's good. It can also be caused by someone or nature, like the eradication of polio, for example. Somebody did that. And then in Maui, again, what stopped those fires eventually was nature by bringing rain. So it's important to be proactive and positive when we do something for change. And we've had some changes at SowHope, and we're planning for more changes. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Some of the past changes we've had, just recently, unfortunately we lost a very beloved board member, Dan Balfour. It was unexpected, and that's the hardest kind of change. His wife, Mayumi, is here tonight with many friends. Where are you, Mayumi? Right here. Yeah, right in the front up here. Dan was a professor at GVSU, and he taught at least 8 of the SowHope staff and board members during their master's program. Dan was instrumental in getting Paul Mavima here as a professor at GVSU. Paul returned to his country because he wanted to help change things there. And recently, he was elected to Parliament. And he is the most likely candidate to be the next president. So when Sienna comes up, you're looking at probably the next First Lady of Zimbabwe. Dan believed deeply in the mission and operations of SowHope. He was an invaluable and highly respected board member. that you can see his reach was local and global, both to the highly educated and the powerful, and to the poorest of the poor, women of the third world. Dan wanted to do something for change. We wanted to take this time to remember him and honor him. May he rest in peace. Other changes we've had at SowHope in the past, well, one thing, we partner with local leaders. Local leaders are people who live in the country where we fund our projects. They do all the work. They come up with the ideas, they do all the work, like Beth already mentioned. We've always believed that local leaders solving local problems using local solutions is the very best way to make change. So we have always let our partners tell us what needs to be changed and how to do it. One change that we made early on was we moved from being a charity-based model nonprofit to a sustainable development model. There's certainly time and place for charity, like when there are natural disasters or the aftermath of a war or a global pandemic. People who need water, food, and shelter to survive, they need to be helped. And we did a lot of that during COVID because we were so perfectly poised with our trusted partners. Normally, those kinds of scenarios are better handled by large, resourced organizations and governments. We believe our funding should go towards sustainable development in the poorest areas of the world. These areas are often politically unstable and deficient in healthcare, education, and economic stability for the masses. These are the areas where women are suffering the most and where their empowerment creates the most dramatic and sustainable change. Now, we've got some changes coming. We're starting succession planning so we can make good decisions about going forward with this organization. One thing we're doing is we're adding people to the leadership team. And I'm excited to announce that besides our administrative director, Aaron Hawksworth, the great Aaron Hawksworth, you never get to see Aaron because he's always in the background. He's amazing. He's our admin director. We have now hired a new program director, Dr. Sylvia Juta, to our staff. I met Sylvia during my master's program at GVSU, where Danny was one of our professors. She joined the SowHope board and then for a short time joined our staff. She got married, and after having a baby, she and her family moved back to Africa. We stayed in touch, and this year, when the program director position opened up, I called her to see if she was interested, and she was. She said, "Oh, Mary, that is my dream job." So we've been traveling this year to visit partners, and Sylvia was lead on opening Zimbabwe to SowHope so that we could start doing projects there. She's a very gifted and visionary person, and everyone who has met her is very impressed. This has been a good change for SowHope. I filmed her very first spontaneous message to women in the field, literally in a field in Kenya. Usually, after we go see a project, see how things are going, they've told us everything they can, they almost always ask for a word of encouragement. I asked Sylvia to do this just a few minutes before it happened. On the spur of the moment, here's what she said to them.
My name is Sylvia. I'm from Zimbabwe. So
Zimbabwe iko Africa.
Yes. So I'm happy to see all of you, and I'm happy to see women coming together and the men helping, and the young, the old, everybody together. And this project that you are doing is very important, unique. You know, most people, they do vegetables, but I think there's more money in fruits. So I'm hoping by the time we come back, you will have a whole orchard, like that pineapple, that pineapple farm. What do you call it? Delmonte, yes. I want this group to have that vision, to have your own Delmonte, owned by women. That will be so wonderful. And I know you can do it.
Thank you.
And I know we'll come back and see orchards and orchards of fruits. May God bless you all.
Amen.
Sylvia also has a penchant for dancing, which is required on our staff. So we're going to show a video here, and somebody bring me up my water, please, when this video is showing. I'm going to show you a little bit of how she
I love dancing.
I think you can see why they like her. By the way, her sister Sienna is the one who's here. She's going to speak after me for a few minutes. She's going to make the closing remarks tonight. I think next year Sylvia will be here. She couldn't make it this year. We're looking to add other leadership positions, especially as I begin to think about retirement in a few years. One purpose of SowHope is to change the status of impoverished women around the world. At SowHope, we have seen so much change over the past 17 years. We fund projects with the goal of inspiring women who are in despair. They live every day alongside poverty, hunger, sickness, violence, and hopelessness. We've seen a lot of good change inspired and initiated by our amazing partners. Their ideas for change are clever, and their dedication to carrying out their projects is remarkable. We Westerners could never have thought of all the things that our partners have asked us to fund. I'm going to share a few stories from this past year in a few minutes. We've also seen our share of bad change. Sadly, sometimes when things are going well, suddenly things change. Mostly this negative change is caused by armed violence, but also natural disasters, including COVID, which undid so much of the development of the past 10 years. One example of this bad change was back in 2009, when we first went to the DRC. One of the places we visited is called the Ituri District, the Democratic Republic of Congo. It was a little village called Lito. A woman there named Monique asked us to fund a project. She had formed the women of 4 warring tribes into a cooperative of 900 women. And the women had built a 4-room building with their own hands. She asked if we would pay to equip this to be a birthing center. The women wanted a peace project that would bring life and not death to the area. We did fund that, and the maternal mortality rate went from nearly 2% to 0 after 1 year. That clinic went on to be a model for 7 other villages nearby where we funded more birthing centers. Things were going very well when not too long ago a militia group came through and destroyed Lito Village and killed nearly 200 people in one night. Monique wasn't there that night, but 2 of her sons were killed. Over the last 5 years in the Ituri district, over 1.7 million people in the district have been displaced. That means they've been forced from their homes involuntarily to live either in the bush, the jungle, go to try to find relatives somewhere nearby, or in this case, UN IDP camps, internally displaced people camps. It's like refugee camps for inside the country. It has been horrible for the people of this area. Just recently, Monique and the survivors of her village have been assigned another village about 20 miles away, and she asked if we would support another birthing clinic there. Can you imagine the fortitude of this woman? She's lost 2 sons everything. She carries on being a source of courage and hope for her people. We must help her as she helps to rebuild her life and the lives of her community. She is all ready to do something for change. She's always ready to do something for change. We visited another group in the DRC. We have about 3 areas of the DRC that we work in. The second group are the women that were dancing in the video with Sylvia. We had sponsored a 2-day seminar there with about 20 leaders. And one of the ladies there told us of how she had been displaced to a new, unfamiliar area. She'd lost her whole family and nearly her mind. She had literally nothing, and she was hiding in the bush naked. That's the area outside of town where there's like a lot of jungle. She would try to find food at night, and people weren't sure if she was a human or an animal. One of the guys in the video went to find her, heard about her, and went to find her. And she said, he wasn't afraid, and he talked to me while I was hiding. He put clothes on me, and he gave me food. He took me to a center where they teach us how to forgive and to be healed emotionally. Then I joined the microfinance project, and I can make money to support myself. Now I help lead a group, and we look for ladies like me who were raped, abandoned, and hopeless. So far, they have started 35 groups in different villages, and they are very motivated to keep going. They have told me that they are fine, and they don't need anything from SowHope, but they advocate for other women and ask us to keep funding our partners so they can keep expanding to more needy women. We funded a small project in India this past year, about $5,000 to train 20 women in small business, practices around recycling. The women are gypsies and are part of a very poor caste, so they are illiterate. They can't read, they can't write. The training was in how to use garbage recycling as a business. Everyone there knows that you can turn some things in for some money, but they were trained in how to do recycling well and how to sell the items, how to demand and sell the items for the correct going price. Our partner, Prabha, who came up with this idea, said it was very challenging to teach the illiterate women since they cannot read or write. She had to recruit teachers who would go with her to various communities to teach the women. They had to go very slowly and repeat different ways, sometimes 4 or 5 different ways, so that the women could understand. It was not easy. The women also faced resistance from their husbands who doubted that the project was worth the effort. Nothing like this was ever offered to anyone they knew. They asked how they could learn and change since they were uneducated. The husbands were asking the wives that. There was also physical abuse from husbands who were drunkards. This sowed a lot of discouragement in the women. But our partner was very insistent and patient with the women and told them to keep coming to the training. They learned the value of different recyclables and how to expect and demand the correct price or go to the next shopkeeper to get the going price. They also taught them about personal hygiene so they're cleaner and healthier. One lady named Rika has 2 children, and her husband was an abusive drunk. Before the project, her life was totally miserable. She earned about $14 a month. You heard that right. She earned $14 a month. That's about 46 cents a day. When she asked her husband for money before the project, he would beat her, and she actually has head wounds. Her husband has affairs. She has to go barefoot because she cannot afford slippers, which cost about $2. Now that she's finished the project, she is making $60 a month, $2 a day, 4 times as much. She feels independent. Her husband is still having an affair, but he does not beat her because she does not ask him for anything. She and other women in the project are saying, we are so strong. Now they can live without hiding behind a man. She can buy slippers for herself and her children. I got to pause here just for a second and say that when you get to poorer areas of the world, the culture is a complete shift. And men do not have responsibility for the children. The women have the responsibility, but they have hardly resources. And many men are having children as an insurance policy because kids feel responsible for their dads, but the dads don't necessarily feel responsible for their children. So she never had a purse because she never had money to put in it. Now she bought a purse. I feel that I'm in a different world, she said, because I earn money every month. I have good food, good clothing, and a good life. Before, I could not even get one cup of coffee. Now, I have a pocket full of money, and I can buy whatever I want for me and my children. Another woman, she's called Little Nagana, has 4 children. Before the project, she earned about $18 a month, 60 cents a day. She was only ever able to feed her children 1 meal a day, but not even nutritious food. No vegetables or chicken. She didn't even have cooking utensils. As she states it, there was no happiness in my life. She told Prabha that she feels after the project that God gave her an angel who came into her life to change their family. Now she earns $72 a month, $2.40 a day. And by the way, when we say $2.40 a day, it's the same $2.40 that we have. She did buy pots and pans. She gives her kids 3 nutritious meals a day, and she is free to buy whatever she wants. I can buy my own sanitary pads because I have money now. I can eat whatever I want. Sometimes I want to eat ice cream, so I buy it. Other women are coming to her now to ask her how her life changed so much. She tells them that the SowHope Project changed her. She and the other women are helping many other women know how to do recycling business. And they are benefiting from the knowledge by earning more also. She says a lot of women did not want to do the project because they thought it would be too much work and would not pay off and nothing would change. But our partner, Prabha, did something for change. And now 20 women's lives have drastically changed. They can feed their children. They can buy clothes. They're not getting beat by their husbands. They can hold their heads high. They can speak to people with confidence. They went from low self-esteem to women with dignity. Heck, they can even buy ice cream. Like all SowHope projects, it is never just the beneficiaries of the projects that benefit. All their kids and many of their neighbors do too. What a change. Now, this last story is my favorite. I guess if I have time to tell it. Oh, yeah, we got plenty of time. We were in Kenya with our beloved Josephine, our partner Josephine, and Pam, my friend Pam Ogre was there. Pam's gone with me. Pam was a founding board member. She's been on many trips with me. Absolutely knows and loves Josephine. Josephine does these amazing projects where she does a week-long seminar. She finds this really vulnerable group or groups. She brings them together. One time she brought 8 warring tribes together in a conference at a hotel for 1 week. They didn't know they were going to be there. And these people kill each other. And she brought them in, and she actually put them in the same room. They had a room together. And they came and complained to her, and she said, I can't do anything for you. We only have a certain number of rooms, and we only have a certain number of beds, and just going to have to put up with this. Well, then she starts in on the conference, and the conference is, what are the problems in your area? And this was a conference for women, but the chiefs wanted to come. Okay, I'm really off track here. This is not the story I want to tell. At any rate, in the end, in that conference, they all realized that they didn't need to be fighting each other anymore. They came up with these mandates that said we're not going to fight each other anymore. And just totally changes the culture in 1 week. Well, one of the things that we pay for it in this thing is that we give seed money for table banking, which means that she gives every group lessons in how to go find a way you can make money where you live. Look for the resources that you have, and then turn those resources into more capital, and then do what you want to make money. So, in one group this past year, she told me the story that one of the groups of ladies, the Turkana women, these ladies have come up in past stories, they're just amazing. They came up with an idea, and they thought about what do they have that they could make more money with. And so in their business plan, they said, okay, we're going to go, we have these semi-precious stones in our area. We can use the money you give us to pay for a trip there. 8 of us will go, and we'll pay for our trip and our housing while we're there for, I think it was 2 weeks. And then what we gather will be worth more than what that money was. So they were going to gather these semi-precious stones. Well, the semi-precious stones they wanted to gather were in the bottom of snake caves, poisonous snake caves. So they know how to, they know that at a certain time of the day that the snakes like to come out and drink water. So they actually bring this big bowl of water, and they set it out in a field, and then they drum. They can drum in a way that kind of wakes up the snakes and makes them think that the water it kind of directs them over to the water somehow. Somehow they drum in a way that can kind of cast the sound over to where the water is. And so the snakes will come out of the cave, and as they come out, the semi-precious stones are attached to their bodies. And as they go through the grass, the stones come off. And so then they go behind the snakes, and they pick up the stones. And they picked up enough. They did this for 2 weeks. They picked up enough. They picked up enough stones to make like 3 times the amount of money that we'd given them. And one of the things they have to do in these groups is they have to double their money and give the same amount of money to another group and train that group also how to do table banking. Then once they've done that, they get to keep their original money, and then they get to start lending it to each other for small loans, and they pay back with interest to their bank. It's their own little table bank. So when they lend the money out to each other, people borrow it, then they pay it back, and they get interest. Well, at the end of the year, they split up all the dividends, and everybody makes more money on what everybody else made their money on. It's like economics 101. Well, these ladies decided they wanted to do a tailoring business. So they went and got these semi-precious stones, and they bought like 10 sewing machines and started a business in their little town. They also had to wear like special colored dresses. They had to buy dresses that matched the dirt so that the snakes wouldn't be able to see them very well. So, I mean, that's something we could never figure out, right? I mean, are we going to go over and tell people, hey, go get some semi-precious stones out of snake caves and you can start a sewing machine business? That's the beauty of letting people come up with their own ideas and do their own things, and that's what makes things sustainable. And so they're pretty clever, aren't they? Well, I'm going to take a few minutes, and we are so early tonight. This is amazing, unless my watch stopped. What time do you guys have? 8:08. Oh, wow, okay. So I'll take some questions tonight, and we have time, so I'm going to just answer some questions from the audience. Just go ahead. It's one of my favorite things to do. Any questions out there? Anybody want to buy some semi-precious stones? Take some dance lessons? Me and Sylvia? Sorry, go ahead. Yeah. Oh, you know what we're going to do? Here, let's do this. I don't know, I got to turn that thing on. Oh, yeah, let's see. Hello? Hello? Is that working? Okay, right back there.
Are you ever afraid And how do you overcome that fear when you're traveling in these remote areas? I mean, obviously, it's very dangerous. What do you do to prepare yourself for that? Because it seems like it is
The question
amazing
is,
work.
if you go to these rural areas, they're kind of dangerous. What do you do to prepare yourself for that? Well, I'm a black belt, and I'm a sharpshooter. And actually, none of those things. I literally, I have a prayer team. That's really the truth. I have a team of about 250 people that when I go on a trip, I send out a little note. My friend Bonnie Connolly sends out a note to tell people where I'm going, and they pretty much pray me out and pray me back. And that's how I do it. And Pam goes with me all the time. We're heading to Nigeria if we can get the visas, and it's one of the worst. That's the worst place in the world, because Boko Haram works in the area where our partner is working, and they are. I have witnessed some gruesome aftermaths of their activity in villages, and yeah, we try to get in and get out pretty quick, and the good thing is, do I look threatening? I mean, there's some benefit of being a little short, kind of heavy lady from West Michigan. You just don't look that threatening to people. I mean, people just kind of look right by you, and so that's what we do. But that's, yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Wow. Guess we should have wrote some questions. There we go. All right.
So you mentioned that often sometimes the leaders find you and the local leaders, but how do you, if that's not the case, then how do you find them?
Yeah.
And you often say that you're in mostly Africa. Can you explain that?
Yep.
That center section
Sure.
of the earth, and then why, like, is it Africa versus South America, Central America,
Yeah.
et cetera?
Okay, good. That's about 3 questions. See if I can answer any of them. First one was, what was the first one again? I just had COVID like a week ago, 2 weeks ago or something. Oh yeah, how do we find partners? Okay, that's good. Well, for many years I did travel. I had a job where I was traveling into the developing world, which are the poor. The developing world is the poor countries of the world, and the reason that we started SowHope was that I had seen the plight of women. Women were so badly treated, and I was also pretty shocked that nobody else was disturbed by that. I would watch, and you kind of see the women carrying the water, carrying the babies out in the field. They're working. They're carrying big things of wood. And then you kind of go through the towns, and in the towns the men are just kind of sitting there drinking tea and smoking hookahs. And if there's a market, the men are working in the market. If there's vehicles, they're driving the vehicles. I'm not saying they don't do anything, and I'm not saying that every man is bad either, by the way. But for the most part, the women were doing a lot of the work. And I remember asking one lady in Ethiopia. I said, Edith, she'd been there 32 years. I said, have you noticed? I mean, am I seeing this right? Because it just seems to me like the women are doing all the hard work. And she thought about it, and she said, yeah, I've been here for 32 years. I never noticed it, but you know what? You're absolutely right. They actually do all the hard work, all the heavy lifting. If there's a road project, guess what the women are doing? They're shoveling the gravel. Guys are driving the bulldozer, women are shoveling the gravel. And it just became, and then you also realize that at any table that we ever sat down at, the men were there. The women made all the food all day long, but when it came time for dinner, no women at the table. In Bolivia one time, I was with a group from my church, and we'd spent all day playing, hanging out with the kids, goofing around. We saw these women off in the corner, 100-degree weather. They're pounding the corn. They're all day long. At 8 o'clock that night, sun's going down. They say, "Oh, come on over here. We got this nice meal for you." There's about 5 men from the church, and we go sit down at the table. Our team, we had about 4 or 5 women probably, and 4 or 5 guys. And we all sat down with the pastor and the other men in the church, and I'm looking around the table, and I said, where are the ladies that made the food? They said, oh, they're in the back. And I said, well, are they going to join us here? They said, oh, no, that's not the culture. I said, not the culture? Really? I saw them making the food all day long. And I said, well, where are they? Well, they're back over there. I said, would you please excuse me? I pushed my chair out. And I speak Spanish, so I went back there, and the 3 ladies are back there, and they kind of see me walk up, and they're like, what are you doing back here? Go back and sit down. And in Spanish, I tell them, no, I'd like to get to know you ladies, and thank you for making the food. I saw you making it all day. And I said, I'd like you to tell me a little bit about your lives. Would you tell me a little bit? And they were very nervous. And they said, well, we're, things are good. The lady said, I'm married to the pastor. My life is much better now that my husband became a pastor. I said, oh, really? Why? And she said, well, he doesn't beat me as much. And so I thought, okay, I speak Castilian from Spain. And I thought, well, I didn't get that right, So I said, did you just say that he doesn't beat you as much? She said, oh, no, not nearly as much as he used to. And I said, oh, and that's the pastor. I said, man, there's something really wrong here. So I hate to tell you this, but women in the third world, they actually believe that they deserve to be beaten by their husbands. Some women will tell you that if their husband doesn't beat him, then he doesn't love her. Another thing women really, really want is the love of their husband. No matter what kind of person he is, women want to be loved by their husbands. And a lot of husbands have multiple wives. And that's very hard on women. It makes them downcast when you ask, is your husband a husband of one wife? No, he has other wives. And they have to share their husband with other women. It's really hard for women. Most places, they can't. When I was doing this 20 years ago, they couldn't own land. They couldn't vote. They can't read. Many of them are uneducated. So they're kept in this very oppressed state. And they're like slaves. And it's just very hard to see. And I was stunned that nobody else was, kind of calling this out. And we spend a lot of time helping kids. But you know who helps kids the most in the world? They're moms. And when we go and help kids, what do you think it's saying to those moms? You can't take care of your kid, we'll do it for you. When you go help kids, you are further indignifying women because you're actually acknowledging that they can't take care of their kids. And what mother wouldn't send their kid off to get whatever food's being given or whatever project or program's going on? Of course they're going to send their kids. But if you help the women, what do you think happens to those kids? They get fed, they get taken care of, they get educated. You ask any developing world woman, and the developing world is mostly sub-Saharan Africa, across South Asia, and Asia itself too. Anywhere where people, what we look for are anywhere where people make less than $2 a day. The average. If more than 50% of the people in the country make less than $2 a day, that's a country we're trying to go to. So we targeted lowest income countries first. That was the goal. SowHope wants to go to every country eventually, but we realized that half the world lives on less than $2 a day. Half the world. And that's the same $2 that you would have to spend here in the United States to buy food, shelter, medical care, transportation. That's what it means, $2. When they say they get a house, they build a house from dirt. They build it from what they can get off the ground. They grow their own food. Forget about cars. It's all walking. There's no electricity. There's no running water. $2 a day. Imagine. Try it for a week. You can't because your house, living in your house is already way more than that because you have climate-controlled homes. Can't do it. Half the world lives on less than $2. Well, now it's like $2.40 a day. They kind of upped it a little bit. Half the world lives like that. Very simple. And women suffer the most. But if they're empowered, everything changes. Okay, how are we doing? All right. Any more questions? Any question? Oh, projects that carry on, yes. Yeah. The question is, do we have any projects that are sustainable, that actually have gone on their own? We have several, actually. And that's our goal, is to fund a partner. Oh, how do we find the partners? That was the question. How do we find the partners? When I traveled around the world for my previous job, I've been to like 65 countries now. I met a lot of people. And so I knew a lot of people to start out with, and I would say, I would tell everybody I knew, if you find anybody that's helping women, we want to meet them. And then people started telling me, hey, there's a doctor over here in Egypt, she's helping women. Hey, there's a guy over here, he's doing microfinance for somebody. Hey, there's somebody over there. So I would go meet the people, and I would see, are they helping women? Because I'm not interested in funding, we're not interested in funding people that want to help women. We're interested in funding people that are helping women, sacrificially, because we know that they're going to do a good job. And what we do basically is supplement what they're doing already. We don't start any new projects, like we don't go in and try to do new things. We try to help people who are already helping women do a better job of helping women. So what happens? People like Josephine, for example, that's a sustainable project. She'll take 100 people for a week, and out of those 100 people, she'll have like 10 groups. She'll give each group $500 or $200 or whatever it is. They have to double that money, and then they have to teach another group. We've supported maybe 5 of these things, 500 people maybe. I asked her last time we were there, Pam, what'd she say? 5,000 people now are in groups. That's sustainability. It grows on its own. She builds it into her project. You get to have this money, but you have to train another group. And that group has to train another group. And then she goes and she kind of monitors that. So that's one way. But we've had so many groups tell us, when we went to Bangladesh, originally in the microfinance project there was so powerful, so good. After about 7 years, we went back to visit, and they said, Mary, we don't need any more money. Don't send us any more money. Give the money you were going to give to us. Matter of fact, we had a project that was 3 years. They got to their goal for the second year. We were supposed to pay them another $15,000. And they said, don't even send us any more money. We've already reached all the goals of the project. We want you to send that money to women poorer than us so you can help them. And that's the vision I give women when I first meet them. When I first meet people, we say to them, look, we know you're poor, but someday you're not going to be poor. And we're going to tell your story so that people will fund us, and we can use that money to help other women poorer than you. And they cheer. Because, they also have dignity, and they want to help people too. And they want to help, and they're proud to help. And when they can get on their feet, like these women in India that learned the recycling business, they immediately went and told their neighbors how to do the business. And those women could make more money too. Part of the deal was that the shopkeepers were ripping everybody off. They wouldn't give them the price they deserved. Well, in the training, they learned, this is how much you have to pay for this bottle. And they could demand the right price. Everybody's making more money. And women will help other women. Really poor women know what it feels like to be really poor and oppressed and beaten down. And they really want to help other women. Did I answer the questions? Yeah. Answer yours? Okay. All right. One more. Okay. Where did I see it? Who's asking it? Boy, it's dark in here.
Hi, Mary. Thank you for doing just amazing work.
Is that Naday?
Yes, this is her.
Naday was our board secretary for 6 years.
Yes, it's so good to be back and good to see SowHope just doing tremendous work all over the world. My question is, how do you navigate the concept of white saviorism that exists in the humanitarian world, and what advice do you have for people who want to do good but struggle with that idea or that concept?
What was the concept? I couldn't hear it.
White saviorism?
White saviorism.
Yes.
Oof.
I know that's a tough question. And what I like
Yeah.
about SowHope, just to say this, is because I feel like because of the mission of SowHope,
Yep.
right, how we work with women and coming to local leaders and asking them, how can we support them? Having the support come from them instead of you or SowHope imposing, you know, you need a well, you need a school. Like Beth mentioned earlier, you ask them. You don't impose anything from them compared to other international organizations or nonprofit organizations that go in Africa or Asia or other countries and impose to them what they can or cannot do or what they should or should not do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, you know, it requires that you have some humility. And this didn't come like, I mean, this came from years of me going overseas and taking teams over, volunteer teams with my church, and realizing that it was good for us to go. And I recommend that you do go overseas and that, you know, you can help. But I think it's really more for learning and then building a relationship with somebody and then letting them have the say in what should go on, what should happen. Because we know, I mean, there is a sense that since we're rich, we know more than them. But that's really not true. I can tell you my partner in Nigeria has 3 master's degrees and a doctorate degree. Some of these people are just brilliant, and they just need resources to carry out the kinds of things they want to do. And us telling them what to do is counterintuitive. It doesn't work, it doesn't last, it's not sustainable, and it's quite frankly, it's humiliating. Do you want somebody telling you what to do? No, you don't. Do your kids want you telling them what to do? No, they don't either. People don't want to be told what to do. But when you're starving to death, you know what? You'll take whatever people will give you. But I can tell you how many wells I walked by in Africa and they're broken, and I'd say to the people, well, tell me about this well. Oh, that was built by the you know, the guy that was, what's that thing we have? COVID brain. We don't have it anymore, where people would go and serve in foreign countries. Peace Corps. Peace Corps guy was in our town. He was here for 2 years. Nice guy. We all liked him. He looked around, he said we needed a well, because we were all walking down to the river. And they're walking down to the river. And I said, so what happened to this well? He said, well, he got the money for the well, he put the well in, and then his 2 years were up and he left. And then the handle fell off. And we don't have the parts to fix it, and we didn't really mind walking down to the river, to be honest. And so we just walk down to the river now. Oh. We have to be partners with these people. And I tell my partners, look, I want to help women in the third world, but I can't do it. I don't know how. I can't speak the language. If I walk in and try to buy something, the price is going to double or triple. But my partners who live there, when they get resources, and they know the problems, they know. If you ask them, what do you need? You might think they need this, and they go, we don't need that. We need this. What we need is this. That can build on this, and eventually we'll get that. But this is what we need now. And I say, you know what? I can't help women without you. You can do a better job with us. We'll give you resources. You tell us what you want to do. You do it. You do all the work. You come up with the ideas. I mean, it's a great deal for us. I basically beg for money from people, and then I give it to my partners, and they do all the work. I mean, it's really the best way to do it. And then we go and we share. They like to, believe me, people love encouragement. They They love for you to tell, hey, you're doing a great job. This is awesome. This is great. That's what our job is. Give them resources and sow some hope. Sow hope. Hope is what makes this world go around. We can't do anything without it. And our partners are the most loving, I'm going to say it, godly people there are on the face of the earth. We don't pay them. We just support their projects. Let them do what they want to do. Give them the resources to do what they want to do. Okay, I think I better close it up here. I want to thank everyone for your interest. Did I answer that question? Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I am Frida. I'm a board member. Actually, I don't have a question. I have a comment. I'm so proud of the SowHope mission and vision. And I just want to say that one of the most proud things about SowHope is that in over 23 countries, there are very amazing people there. And one of the things that we hope everybody can know is they are safe, as we sometimes don't understand when we are seeing from outside. And when our mission and vision is put together, there is no fear, because love is no fear. And when Mary is out there, she has never come back and felt threatened by any of those people. And that's why our work spreads and spreads into more countries. And I'm forever proud that she doesn't have fear when she thinks of where she's going. And you are not led by fear, but love. Thank you.
Thank you, Frida. We always try to have a few people on our board that are from the developing world so they can help keep us straight and not drift off into the white saviorism. So I want to thank Nadea and Frida and Christy for being on our board and for being a voice for us, and being a voice for the women that we try to help, so that we don't try to go fix stuff, but really stay true to the vision of partnering with people, letting them do what they do well, and we do what we do well. We do have resources. We can give those resources to very good people who really are helping women. Well, I want to thank everyone for your interest in SowHope tonight. I hope you feel challenged to also do something for change. Tonight I talked about some of the great problems in the world facing a very important group, women. Women are the ones who bear and bring life to the world. They're the natural nurturers. When a woman carries a child for 9 months in her womb and then delivers that child in great pain and at a great cost, there is a much greater commitment to preserving and promoting that life. That is why it is so important to lift women up and not oppress them further, especially impoverished women who live under unbelievably hard cultural circumstances where the poorer they are, the worse they're treated. It is not fair, and it needs to change. At SowHope, we are fighting to make that change. And where we have been able to go, mostly we are winning. So many women, and consequently their children's lives, have been changed. I asked one 12-year-old grandson of a woman who has been in our program in Uganda for the last 12 years, what did he think his life would be like if she wasn't his grandmother? He thought about it for a second, and he said, my life would be so miserable. And he's right. When we met her, she was a recent widow with 9 children, 2 co-wives besides her. She started in her microfinance group with growing corn and selling it locally. Then she expanded and started wholesaling corn to the capital city. Rather miraculously, she was the first one in her village to send her son to university. She was part of the literacy projects and began by reading a free book that she'd received, the Bible. While continuing to farm and run a successful business, she has started and now leads and pastors 2 churches that are completely self-sustaining, no outside help. She has changed the lives of her children, her grandchildren, and her 400 church members. That transformation is almost unbelievable, except that I've gotten to see it with my own eyes. Now that is doing something for change. I want to challenge you to do something for change tonight too. Here are 3 things. 3 that you can do for change. 1, become a part of SowHope by signing up for the newsletter and onto our social media. Spread the word and help make people aware of SowHope and our unique mission. And I do think it's unique. I don't think there's a lot of organizations that are allowing the third world people to have a say in what they really want to do. Number 2, you can volunteer. We can always use help with our newsletter mailings. We also need people to come and march with us on March 8th, International Women's Day, in downtown Grand Rapids. We had our first march last year. We had over about 100 people, and we want to make that like 1,000 this year. We want to move it to other cities. Nobody does this in the U.S. It's done all over the developing world. That day is a national holiday in many countries. So we want to kind of bring the awareness, and we're the first ones to do it. So you can be in on something very historic. And 3, give money to this cause. Sienna Mavima is going to come up here after special music from Tiana Reynolds and guide how to do that tonight. Please give to SowHope tonight, and also consider becoming a long-term, generous donor of SowHope, and do something for change. Thank you, and good night. God bless you.